For the past couple of years, I kept repeating the same money mistake over and over again until this understanding of financial freedom finally clicked in my head after I read a book written by the most successful man of all time. Yeah, that guy actually wrote a book. Before I get there, I want to discuss how I got there. And to uncover that, I really just need to expose myself here. Ooh, no, not like that. Exposing myself by taking you through the financial mistakes that I have made and have only recently realized and still making, so that I can show the truth behind this seemingly arbitrary concept. So let's back up. From the time that I was 16, I always watched these videos by Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki. They always talked about the principles of good debt versus bad debt. I was like, wow, this is great. I can understand it now. It makes sense. And so I formed opinions about financial freedom based on what these gurus had to say. But that's not even the whole story. In the months leading up to January of 2022, I had been making money online through various clients that I landed for a lead generation agency that were paying me on a monthly basis. In January of 2022, I was able to do the thing that I had been wanting to do for 4 years, buying a one-way ticket to Europe and backpacking across the continent for an indefinite amount of time. I remember right before leaving, I made my last payment on a credit card, and with that payment, my shackles to the lender had been broken, and I was able to embark on this great journey. Paying off that debt gave me the freedom of the mind. It was a blank canvas that I could paint the picture of my life on. And so that peace of mind that it gave me was invaluable. But the peace didn't last. I traveled for about 4 months, flew home, spent the summer with my family, and in August of 2022, I started my own business, initially providing drone services to real estate agents, the side hustle, while my main job covered my living expenses. In that same month, I also bought a car, and I did both of these things by taking out a loan. And I thought I was being smart because I was using OPM. Now I'm taking all of these principles that I learned from YouTube and applying them to my own life. But because of some poor market assessment, I didn't realize that as I was starting this drone business, the real estate market was tightening up. Realtors were selling less houses, and the ones that were still closing houses, most of them ended up just buying a drone themselves and flying the drone without a license. And there wasn't much I could do about that. Okay, who has money? It's like, oh, well, people who play golf. So I reached out to golf courses. What I didn't realize is that most golf courses aren't very lean, that the ones that could afford drone services were doing the same thing that the realtor was doing, which is they would just buy their own drone and fly without a license. So that side hustle wasn't doing too hot. The few jobs that I was getting was only a couple $100s here and there, and it still didn't cover the $3,000 to $4,000 that I put up for that business. Not to mention, in October of 2022, I lost one of my largest clients at my main job, and that client alone accounted for 50% of my sales. So I pondered if I was just a bad businessman, or I had just gotten a bad stroke of luck. I had thousands of dollars in debt, and my income was less than it was a year prior. The previous year I was doing so well, it allowed me to travel for 4 months. Crap, what am I doing wrong? It was at this moment that I asked myself, what is financial freedom? So the first thing that I did was I took it to prayer. I asked God, I was like, what do you want me to do? How are you going to provide for me? And because of my debt expenses, I don't know if I can cover my living expenses. It led me to the conclusion that the freedom that I lacked wasn't the freedom to live extravagantly. It was the financial ability to tithe part of my income. Because when I had to choose between my debt expenses and my living expenses, nowhere in that equation did I even think about giving money to my church or helping out my friend when he needs me to spot him for gas. Because my debt limited my free ability to serve others and to do what I was made to do, it was slavery because it took away my freedom. There's this quote from a G. It goes like this: freedom consists not in doing what we like, but in having the ability to do what we ought. Because of the decisions that I made, I didn't have the financial ability to be generous. This is a serious problem. I couldn't do what I needed to do, which was help the people around me. Because now, when money came in, I couldn't give it to anyone. I had to only give it to the bank. So I turned to an unlikely place. No, not Dave Ramsey. I'm talking about a much more successful man than Dave Ramsey. I found a book written by the most successful man to have ever walked the earth. And when I opened up this book and read the secrets that it contained, it blew my mind because it completely changed my perspective about personal finance and really how to achieve financial freedom. I'm talking about King freaking Solomon. He writes in his book of Proverbs, he says, "Be not one of those who gives pledges, who puts up security for debts. If you have nothing with which to pay, why should your bed be taken from you?" It's like, well, that's actually pretty smart. Thanks, King Solomon. Don't give pledges that you can't afford. Like, he's talking about a very real and modern thing that exists. People can't pay their debts and have to foreclose on their house. And so it really shows money is much more about the way that people do business than it is like a particular economic setting. Because, I don't know, the monarchy of Israel thousands of years ago still had foreclosures. If your finances don't allow you to live out your mission, you're not free. It's not about having a Ferrari. It's about building a school in Nepal. And let's say you've got the funds. God is giving you the money to build this school, but you can't because of the debt payments that you have to make. That you are not free to do what you need to do, and so therefore you are a slave. My mind began moving now that I have this newer understanding of what freedom is. You know, I need to elevate my income so I can pay off these debts and never walk back to it. I won't go as far as saying debt is evil, but Solomon does say the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. You can make your own assessment about the moral implications about slavery, but debt is slavery. I've received a lot of practical help by being mentored by the richest man on earth. I would encourage you to seek the wisdom of the people who came before us. There's an abundance of proverbs that Solomon wrote that we can apply to our lives in a very practical way. Financial freedom is not a one-time achievement, but rather a continuous journey that takes ongoing effort and commitment. It involves learning to manage your money in a way that aligns with your values and the mission that you were placed on earth to do. Since my breakthrough, I've picked up a couple new clients and I've paid off some debt, but I'm not done yet. This is the documentation of my process, and so I do want to be transparent. These are just me talking about the lessons that I'm learning as I'm learning them. The videos of me celebrating a win would mean nothing if I'm not actually transparent about, where I am at the low point. I'm still learning, and that's okay. I'm pretty young, and I plan on continuing to learn until the day I die. So I look forward to continuing to share my personal and professional progress with you as I'm learning these things. If you're interested in watching me grow, feel free to subscribe, or if you just haven't seen enough yet, watch my video about misterpmacd and how I'm turning that into a private charter brokerage. It'll be somewhere here. Thanks for watching. Take care.